February flew by and I failed. I failed. Hey, what's up, you guys? My name is Hannah. Welcome back to H and Bookish Reads. Today we are talking all about February reading wrap-up, what I did and did not read, and then March anticipated reads or TBR, whatever. New location just dropped. This is mine and my sister's office. We had redone this wall earlier, or I guess over Christmas break, and we have brand new shelves put in, and it's gorgeous and amazing. And one day I will probably do a video showing you all of the shelves and things, but it's a perfect little backdrop for my February reading wrap up. And I'm sitting in our new chair. You can't see it, but it's super cozy. So, like the beginning of this video states, I failed my February reading TBR that I had posted earlier in the month. There were 2 books that I did not get to read, probably because I snuck some other books in there. But the 2 books that I did not get to read are the first books I'm reading this month. I made it my life goal to get those books finished. All right, to get us started, we're going to talk about what I read in February. Most of the books I read are right here. There's a couple audiobooks or Kindle reads that I will mention, but let's get started. I think I brought this book up in my 14 romance reads for February, but P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connoly was easily one of my favorite books that I've read so far this year. And I get it, it's March 2nd as I'm recording this, but I've read like 27 books at this point. It's so good. It's very similar to P.S. I Love You, the movie / book. The brother passed away, and it's like his best friend and sister, and I loved it. It was very good. I did cry. There was a lot of emotion tied to this book because the brother did pass away, and so be careful when you're reading that, just if you struggle with that kind of trigger. All right, the next 2 books I read were Holding the Reins and Training the Heart by Paisley Hope. It's very similar vibes to like the Chestnut Spring series or the Rebel Blue Ranch series that I've read previously. I love that vibe where it's like a different sibling or a different part of the family. This first book, Holding the Reins, is about Cece and Nash, and Cece is like the only sister of the group, and Nash is like essentially the adopted son, but he's not actually the son. He's just part of the family. Very much giving like Jasper Gervais from the Elsie Silver universe. Oop, almost dropped it. And then the next one in that series is Training the Heart. This is like, his name's Wade Ashby. He's like the older brother. He's very much like stoic and kind of rough and abrasive, and he has to hire a horse trainer who is none of those things. She's kind of free and wild, and they somehow hit it off, as they do in these books, and end up falling in love. And it was a really, really sweet story. I'm excited for the third one because the third one is the character I wanted the second book to be about, but I will be patient. I will wait my turn. All right, next up on February reads was Mile High, which is the first Windy City book. I said in my February TBR that I wanted to read the second one, and I did not get to it. That was one of the books I did not get to. However, I started the audiobook literally March 1st. I started it yesterday. I will be ready. This book is about Stevie and Xander, and Xander's is a hockey player. Stevie is the flight attendant on their like private plane. They end up falling in love, and there's some roller coaster of emotions and paparazzi and a lot of body issues that come up that I really like how they addressed it in this book. I'm excited for the second one because the second one is about is about Stevie's brother Ryan and Stevie's best friend. So I'm really pumped for that one. All right, next up was easily one of my most anticipated reads of this year, Scythe and Sparrow by Brynne Weaver. It is the third and final in the Ruinous Love trilogy. The other 2 were Butcher and Blackbird, Leather and Lark. If you have not read these books, they're so good. They're not super dark romance. They're more of like a dark rom-com, and I love them, except I'm not a big like circus girl. Like clowns kind of freak me out, and this one had a little bit of circus in it, but not in a way that freaked me out, which was cool. The main character, actually, like, I don't know if you've seen it, and I don't know if I'll be able to post a picture. I might be able to find one and put it here, but it's like they're in a cage and they're like riding motorcycles and stuff in there. She does that in this book, which is crazy and wild. And she's also like a tarot card reader. I don't know. I really loved the vibes of this. He's a doctor, but he has like a dark past, and obviously his brothers are who they are. And so I really liked how they wrapped that series up. I also really loved how this book kind of ran like timeline wise as the other two books were happening. So you kind of got some backstory to situations that happened in the first two books while it was happening in this book, which I really loved that because I was like, I feel like I'm like taking a peek behind the curtain. All right, I've talked about this book in a previous video or two, I think, maybe, because I went and met the author at a book signing. But Dream Girl Drama by Tessa Bailey. This book was really, really cute. It's the third in this series. It's about Sig and Chloe, and they are unfortunately future step siblings. Now, that sounds sketchy. It gets resolved. I'm not going to spoil anything, but does get resolved. There's a lot of slow burn in this book when I tell you. This is like the slow burn, slow burn, slow burn book, okay? But when it burns well, all right? All right, this next one is also a highly anticipated read for February. It was Deepened. I love Ali Hazelwood. There's not much I'm going to say about this book because I don't want to spoil it because a lot of people haven't had the opportunity to read it yet. But it's about two aquatic people. One's a swimmer, one's a diver, and they have like a complicated, twisted story. But I fell in love with them just like I do with all of Ali Hazelwood's characters. And I will say this again, I love how her female characters can be so smart and fumble through life so much. I think it's a really humanizing aspect to a female character that we don't always get. We don't get to see them being, flawed and smart, but we do with these. So, okay, the last of my physical books that I read was First Time Caller. This was my favorite book of February and possibly my favorite book so far of the year. This book was immaculate. I will not be giving any spoilers. It just came out, but it's very Sleepless in Seattle. I have no words. I cried and I laughed, and I love when books put in like text messages, or like in this book it has like radio transcripts from the radio show that he's the host of. I'm fumbling through that, but please read this book. It was so good. I loved her family dynamic of like how her and her baby's father have like built their lives. I really, really enjoyed that. Read this book. Please, please, please read this book. I was able to read The Fall Risk. I'll put a picture somewhere by Abby Jimenez early because I had like Kindle or Amazon First Reads or something. I don't know. It was some kind of something where I was able to access The Fall Risk before it came out because it only came out yesterday, I think. And it was really, really cute. It's a really short read, so I wouldn't even count it as like a full book, but I read like 11.25 books in February. And it was really sweet. They're these two people, they live in an apartment complex on like the second floor, and their stairs are gone because the maintenance people like took the wrong stairs off to do maintenance and stuff. Anyways, they get trapped for a little bit. There's a stalker involved. It was really cute. It was really short. I read it like in my downtime at work in one day. It was really adorable. On the Abby Jimenez train, I also read Life's Too Short, which was the third book in that series, and it followed, I want to say his name was Aiden. I can't really remember his name, but it was Aiden, and the main girl was an influencer, like a travel influencer, and she kind of adopted her sister's baby. Her sister's going through addiction and things like that. And so she's fumbling through, learning how to be a mother and things like that. And he comes along, he owns the building she lives in, and he's like this sweet man who is just like taking care of her. And they end up falling in love. And there's obviously complications with that because she thinks that she might have a terminal illness and she doesn't want to shackle him to her and the baby and everything like that with all of that going on. I really just, Abby Jimenez can rip your soul out. And then she puts it nicely back together. Like, it's fine, but she takes you on a journey, that's for sure. I was so excited. I felt like Christmas morning. I got a advanced copy of The Love Haters by Katherine Center. I'm going to put a picture here. I'm not going to reveal like anything about that because I don't want to get in trouble and not be given books to read again. But it was about this girl who's going to shoot a promo video for somebody in the Coast Guard, and he's actually the brother of her like superior in the office, and her superior thinks that he's just like perfect and never does anything wrong, and there's like a lot that goes along with that. But she ends up going down to Florida and Key West, and they end up spending all this time together because she's shooting a promo and there's a hurricane involved. There's a dog, which if there's a dog, I'm reading it. But genuinely, that felt like Christmas morning. I've never been given an advanced copy of a book, and I want them. Please, if you have advanced copies, give me your book, please. For the last book of February, I read The Favorites, or I listened to The Favorites on Spotify because I had listening hours. When I tell you that book caught me off guard. I had no expectations for that book, like whatsoever. I had been seeing it everywhere, and it was like, oh, it's like Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's also like Spinning Out, which was a Netflix show that should not have been canceled. Whatever. I was hooked. And Johnny Weir, if you know who Johnny Weir is, he was part of the audiobook narration. It gave me very much Tessa and Scott. Yeah, Tessa and Scott. I loved them like growing up, like watching them throughout Olympics and things. And so this felt very much like that, but more intense, more passionate, more emotional. It was spectacular. I was hooked from start to finish, and it followed their life like from when they were teens to when they were like adults. So if you are interested in like drama sports books, I would suggest The Favorites for sure. It was amazing. Moving right along to my March TBR. I'm not going to set a huge goal for March TBR, maybe 5 or 6 books, because I don't want to fail myself again, okay? The first one I'm reading is obviously The Right Move, which is Windy City 2. I said I started that audiobook yesterday. I also started a physical book yesterday, The Charlie Method by Elle Kennedy. Those two are the ones I did not get to at the end of last month, and I was really looking forward to reading them, so I'm starting the month strong with those. My third read for March is undoubtedly going to be Wild Side by Elsie Silver. That book, I'm currently filming this on Sunday, March 2nd. That book should be at my house on Tuesday, which means I need to be finished with anything else by Tuesday or Wednesday so that I can start that book. I've been waiting, foaming at the mouth, for Wild Side by Elsie Silver, and the fact that she's giving us the 4th book in September is like, sorry if you heard my dog. The fact that she's giving us the 4th book in September, I'm dying. I love that series so much. I love any Elsie Silver book. I will like gobble it up. Okay. All right. I think after Wildside, I'm going to need like a palate cleanser book because I'm going to be so obsessed with it. I can guarantee. I'm going to read Hideaway Heart by Melanie Harlow, hopefully. I feel like her books, I've only read one of them, but it was a really easy, like cute read that I didn't feel like I had to work too hard in my brain to understand what was going on. And like sometimes you just need that. Last up, and this may be a big ask for March, but I have been looking at this book on my TBR cart for weeks now. I really want to read it. I get it. It's off brand from everything you're seeing pretty much up here, except for maybe Scythe and Sparrow. But I really want to read Lights Out. It's either going to be Lights Out or Quicksilver because I have both. And I actually have the audiobook of both. So I'll be able to like really invest and get committed. So hopefully. I'm sure there are other new releases that are coming out that I just forgot about. I'm sure they'll snake their way into my March reading as well. But let's see how distracted I get and see if I can actually finish the books that I have slated for this month. That would be amazing. As always, if you have made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. I am working on my Sarah J. Maas ranking video. It's coming. I just want to have my thoughts collected before I film it. I also have probably a bookish vlog coming. We're going to Dallas in a couple weeks for spring break. I'm getting all the bookstores compiled so I can go. I'm also getting 2 little bookish tattoos for Throne of Glass. I'm so excited. So you'll get to see all of that in that video. But if you like this, please like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to my channel. I'm having a blast making these. So have a great day.